Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are finally getting back into the roots. We are updating the complete PvE guide for Awakening Warrior here after the reboots, and honestly, let's just jump straight into it. For early game PvE, we are not really looking for combos. Realistically, you are going to be killing packs in 1 or 2 hits, and you can just use any of these abilities to do that really. So the main abilities in the Awakening kit that we have to clear packs quickly, good AoE and good damage is Gravedigger, which is Shift LMB. The next one is going to be Slashing of the Dead, which is Shift RMB. Then we have Pulverize, which is SLMB. And you can do a continued swing by holding it down, and that will be using the ability Tempest, which will look something like this, a double swing. Now those two abilities will also heal you. Pulverize will heal you static for 400 health, so you can use that out of combat to regen HP, or you can use it in a group to deal damage and restore 400 health. Pulverize, which is the flow after Tempest, which is the flow after Pulverize, will regenerate 150 HP per hit. So if you're standing in a big group, Tempest will heal you a lot of HP, 150 HP per hit or per target. Now, another ability we have is Reckless Blow. This is one of the hardest hitting, probably the hardest hitting warrior ability. We can hold down LMB and RMB to charge it up for greater distance and more damage. But realistically, you won't have to in early game grinding. You're most likely going to be one-shotting packs by just tapping it real quick. It makes it instant and deal super good damage still, but not quite as much as if you're holding down and fully charging it up. Another ability we have here, which you definitely should be using or utilizing, is our Shift F, Round Smash. This is a pre-awakened ability, but we can use it from Awakening by going Shift F. It deals massive 360 AoE, it's protected, and deals great damage. So you can definitely use this in early game grinding as well to clear out those packs. Another ability that you should definitely be utilizing at times, if everything else is on cooldown, is your Frenzied Strike. Frenzied Strike you should lock and hotkey. It looks something like this. It deals pretty great damage and solid AoE, but as you can see, it's a very long animation. So I would really only use this early game if everything else is on cooldown, or if you just need to finish off a pack. For that, you can also use Merciless, which is SRMB, and you can do the double slash with that one, and you can use this off cooldown, so it is spammable and very, very useful for finishing off the packs that last bit of HP. Warrior movement is extremely important in PvE, moving quickly from pack to pack, both early game when you're one-shotting packs. You don't spend a lot of time doing combos, right? You need to minimize the time between packs to increase your clear speed, but also later on, knowing how to move and again, minimizing the times between hitting mobs and killing mobs. It's super important for optimizing your grind speed. So for Awakening Warrior, we have this unique possibility of using both our pre-awaken kit, but also our awaken kit. In the pre-awaken kit, which is the primary kit for mobility, we have Shield Charge, we have Charging Thrust, we have our Rabam Spear, and we also have the new ability, Frenzied Dash. Now, Frenzied Dash isn't actually new, but it used to be completely useless. But with the reboot, they updated it, and now it is an amazing tool for mobility. The first we have here is Shield Charge. Shield Charge is done by holding down W and RMB. It's very simple and very straightforward. You need to be in pre-awakening to use it though. The next up is our Charging Thrust. This is the main ability for movement that Warrior has, and it's very simple. It's WF. Now this ability you can actually use from your Awaken kit, and it will switch you over to pre-awaken it right away. So by going WF, we can hold it down and we can extend it for another dash and travel very, very far. Now, by doing that and moving over to a pre-awakened kit, we can combo it with shield charge. So we can go WF and then into WRB for a further distance traveled. The next ability we're going to take a look at is your Rabam Spear or Frenzied Spear. You find it under here. Make sure you get it. It's an amazing tool both for PvE and PvP. You're going to hotkey this one. And you can also use it from your awakening stance, which makes it very, very great as well for quick movement after killing a pack. Now, the thing about this ability is you have to hit a target with it. If I were to just throw it out into thin air, nothing really happens. But by hitting a target, it will make me dash towards the target and do a strike. So if you're in distance after killing a pack where you can see the next one, you can use this as a gap closer. So you target and you use your Rabam Spear, it will dash you towards it and do a strike. At lower end, this strike is enough to potentially kill some of the packs as well. And now for the last one, Frenzied Dash, amazing new tool. You can either hotkey this one or you can use the key bindings, and I suggest honestly using both. You use it by going Shift Q, but you have to be in your pre-awakened kit to use it. So you can combo this with other abilities. For example, you could go you kill a pack and you can go your spear into your Frenzied Dash, but it's gonna look something like this. Shift Q, quick dash to the next pack. In the awakening side of the kit, we have three major movement abilities. We have Solar Flare, we have Balance Strike, and we have Heaven's Cleave. Now, the way you do those is Solar Flare, you do it by going W, L, and B. And Balance Strike, you can go W, R, and B. With Solar Flare, if you just do W, L, and B, it doesn't travel that far, but you can actually extend it if you start with a dash, going Shift W into your Shift L and B for Solar. So instead of having a short distance like this, instead we can start out with the dash into Solar and we can close greater distance like this. Significantly further travel than just doing Solar. We can actually combo on top of this with Balance Strike to extend this distance even further beyond. So if we're standing all the way here, we see our group far away, we can go dash, Solar Flare, Balance Strike for maximum distance travel. And quite great. Now, when it comes to Heaven's Cleave, the last of the abilities here we're going to cover. If you want to just use it, you have to hotkey it. Otherwise, you will have to activate it as a flow after certain abilities by holding down R and B. Heaven's Cleave looks like this. It travels forward a bit, and then it does a really hard-hitting slash. Now, if you're pretty close to a pack, you can close the distance with that, land the slash, and potentially kill the entire group earlier on, like this. If you want to use it as an extension, you can use it after Solar Flare, just like with R and B. So by doing this, you will go dash, Solar Flare, and hold down R and B, whereas with Balance Strike, you would hold down W and R and B. So it's going to look something like this. We're going to go dash, Solar Flare, hold down R and B. It's going to close a lot of distance, and we're going to finish off the movement with our slash, hitting the pack that we just arrived at. Towards endgame, you need to actually do combos now to kill the mobs. We can't rely on just one-shotting anymore, and we need proper combos. Now, the first combo I'm going to show you is in my opinion, the best combo there is for Awakening War. It's very simple and extremely efficient. You can grind relatively high AP spots with lower AP with this combo. So the first thing we're going to do is get our block buff up with the Q block. After that, while the mobs are moving in, you pull them with ground roar as always. Go in and pull them with ground roar. When the mobs are moving in, we're going to start off with our Gravedigger. Gravedigger has a lot of AoE. We get good skill add-on procs on it. Then we're going to go straight into our armor break. And here we're now going to use Reckless Blow. And when Reckless Blow goes off, we need to do instantly 1 tick of Angle Break. And after that, we're going to transition straight into Pulverize, into Tempest, into Slashing of the Dead. Now, if the mobs are still not dead, we can finish them off with Frenzied Strike and or Merciless. For the second combo, we start out again pulling the mobs with ground roll, and then we go into our Q block. This time we're gonna open up with the spacebar for armor break, and as soon as we hit with the armor break, you can instantly transition into the solar flare, into balance strike, hill strike, and then hold down RMB for Heaven's Cleave. After Heaven's Cleave, you can go straight into a Slashing of the Dead, into a Gravedigger, and then finish off with Frenzy Strike or Merciless as is required. Not a PvE guide without some PvE skill add-ons. Now, these are some very good cookie cutter setups, but depending on what you need, the combos you use and everything, you should definitely look into customizing your skill add-ons that fits your combos and your playstyles, but also where you're grinding. So let's say that you're grinding Abandoned Monastery or Bloody Monastery, that's human mobs. And you should definitely want to get a human damage skill add-on in there. Human damage mobs are both monsters but also human type. So they actually get double effects by human damage and monster damage. So those two effects will stack hitting something like that. Let's say you are grinding at a more in-game spot like golems as forest or stuff like that. You probably want to have some HP regen in there, or maybe even some DP buff to help you stay alive. These skill add-ons here, however, are going to be super good everywhere in the game, and I'll go over them quickly and explain why it is they are the way they are. So maybe you can take some of this and make them into your own, make your own setup that fits whatever you're doing. So first off, Ground Roar just recently got a fix, so now the debuff is applied on the entire effect. Previously, they had to be almost in melee range for the skill add-ons on Ground Roar to work. So it is an amazing one to put some skill add-ons on. It gives you that initial buff or whatever you need on your pull. So for me, I went with minus DP and also critical hit damage plus 2. And that's because right after using that, I go into Gravedigger. And on Gravedigger, I like to put monster damage and attack speed. Attack speed is extremely important for warrior DPS, and you want to make sure you have attack speed buff up at all times on warrior. So starting off with the attack speed and also the monster damage, super nice and beneficial. One thing about the skill add-ons, and I'll use Gravedigger here as an example. So when you put a skill add-on on an ability, like Gravedigger, the first hit will activate the skill add-ons. So by putting a monster damage skill add-on on Gravedigger, only the first hit out of the first 4 don't benefit from it, but every single hit on the ability benefits from the monster damage on this one here. Only the first does not. So I can put my monster damage on Gravedigger here and still get the benefit out of it. That's why I don't have it up here on my Ground Roar. Also, Ground Roar is only a T1 skill add-on, so it will have lower numbers than a Tier 2, which is Gravedigger and all the other ones, but they will also have lower numbers than a T3, and Reckless Blow is a T3 for warriors. Right. Now, with attack speed, if you're already in an animation and you get slowed or you get a speed buff, it doesn't change the current animation. Same thing if you're using a movement ability and a slow debuff runs off, you will still be slowed in the full animation until it ends. So this one here, it doesn't benefit from the attack speed buff itself, but it sets up everything else. Also, the Gravedigger doesn't need the attack speed because we're normally using it while the mobs are moving in. So I like to go monster damage and attack speed into my armor break. For armor break, I will always go full debuff. It's a DP debuff ability. So I use this to set up high damage. So that's why I always put minus DP and minus evasion on it. If it's good at what it does, might as well make it even better at that specific thing. After that in combo, I normally go into my Reckless Blow. Reckless Blow is the T3 skill add-on here we have, so I'm going to go all out on the two most important things for me, damage and attack speed. So that's why I'm rocking the 30 monster damage and the 10% attack speed on my Reckless Blow. After that, we have my sort of fillers whenever I need them. Solar Flare gives me a -6 evasion debuff on the targets I hit. So I will normally use Solar Flare if I know I'm lacking accuracy in my build. So that's why I put in my +4 accuracy rate. On my armor break, I have the minus evasion, right? So on this one here, minus evasion and plus accuracy, it actually has the same effect. It just increases my hit chance by 4 in either direction, right? So if I'm -4% on evasion, it's the same as getting 4% accuracy. So I use this one because, well, I want it in my kit and I might as well put it on the ability that also benefits and gives me the same buff. After that, I got a 20% crit rate. Warrior has pretty much 100% crit rate across the board, but there are some abilities that don't have it. So having that in there in the kit is very good. It does increase the DPS on those specific abilities. And especially in my combos, I like to use Balance Strike right after Solar Flare. And I'm pretty sure Balance Strike actually has 0% crit rate on it. So it does benefit just slightly getting those 20% extra. After that, we got Heaven's Cleave. It's an amazing ability. I use it all the time. But we've pretty much, with this combo and this setup, I have all the important buffs and debuffs up and running constantly. So for this one, I fill out the crit damage and the back attack damage. All the other stuff, which I view as being better and more important, it should already be up and running constantly because I'm using those on my main abilities. So for this one here, I just throw in the bit extra damage I can squeeze out with back attacks and critical hit damage. Guys, I hope you found this helpful and useful. I never done this before, but I just wanted to thank you all for the massive support with the stream and the YouTube channel throughout the years here. I just, before this video went live, hit 10,000 subs here on YouTube, and I am extremely proud and also extremely humbled by that. It's crazy, and just knowing that this is the beginning, it makes me super optimistic and happy. I wanted to thank you all for the massive support. I'll catch you in the next one. So I pour up inside my cup and I just sip till I can't feel it. I know it won't solve my problem, but I know it makes a difference. One more sip and I'ma fix it. Out my body when I